Hello and welcome to Business Class. My name is Shantanu Prakash and today we have with us Anil Joshi, who is the founder and managing partner of Unicorn India Ventures. So Anil, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Shantanu.
Does the name of your venture suggest that you are creating the next lot of unicorns in India?
That's the objective, and we are hopeful of having at least one unicorn in a year or two from our first fund.
So Anil, you've had a very interesting journey yourself. You started your career in sales and today you are an investor. In fact, you're the pioneer of the angel investment ecosystem in India. So lead us through your journey. How did you get here in the first place?
So, a very interesting, humble background. Maybe I'll take some time, but post my engineering, I typically wanted to be with likes of Reliance, SR or L&T. Those were the companies where everybody aspired to be, as a campus recruitment. But I landed up a job at shop floor with Birla Concern. So I worked for a year, but then I realized that I'm not cut for engineering job, and then moved to do my management. And post my management, I got inducted with BK Birla Group of Company, and that time they had hired 6 people, early 2000, and were hired with a specific objective to groom them for different leadership roles. And I was moved to profit center head to head Panipat. And while I was quite excited but had never moved out of Mumbai, so I took a challenge and moved to Panipat. But the moment I landed, it was kind of a bit a cultural shock for me. But then Panipat actually taught me some very interesting lessons in life. The land which is full of entrepreneurs. I have seen several examples. So I stayed there 3 years, and while I was well settled there, but was never comfortable with the environment. But the entrepreneurial essence in that city actually always kept me excited.
So going back, Anil, to your experience in Panipat, which I find very fascinating, because you're this Bombay boy suddenly put in a small town in India, and there are hundreds of cities in India like Panipat, and because you go there, you discover some very inspirational stories of entrepreneurship. But the Panipat model of entrepreneurship is very different from the Mumbai and NCR and Bangalore
true.
model of
That's very
entrepreneurship.
That's very
and
true.
somehow I feel that these heroes in small towns and cities are not showcased.
Very true.
But there is a lot of entrepreneurship that is going in the tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 cities of India, which we don't celebrate, we don't recognize.
Very
so
true.
as an somebody who pioneered angel investment, what is your view on this foundation of entrepreneurship in India?
So it's very interesting, in metros we only speak about scale. Nobody talks about real dhanda, right? But when you look at this small entrepreneurs from tier 2, tier 3 cities, whatever may be their background, but one thing which they understand is pure dhanda, right? If they are getting something done for 1 rupee, they have to sell it for 1 plus, right? They don't understand the concept of freebies, or cost of customer acquisition, blah blah blah. I think they are real true heroes. The only thing, in fact, I've come across many interesting cases where businesses have been built, but they are basically turned out to be kind of lifestyle business. I think if somebody go and look at this kind of entrepreneurs, I think we can come across many interesting businesses which could be funded, could be scaled, and could actually become a national story. than just be a mere local story. So these are real heroes in my view. In fact, that's what actually taught me to take risk from tier 2 tier 3 cities, and that's what we have done with our fund as well, right?
So a lot of these startup martyrs, as we see today, who see the glamour of entrepreneurship, they want to do something, jump into it without the necessary framework around them, and they fail, and they sort of become startup martyrs. So do you come across a lot of such kind of people?
I give my own example, and of course there are umpteen examples. So when I started Unicorn, as I told you, each of my job, I left with with a good decent pay package. When I started Unicorn, I didn't see money for 3 years, right? And I come across many wannabe entrepreneurs. The first thing they speak about, what would be my salary. I said, boss, you are not here to earn salary, but you are here to build something which will generate wealth for not only you but many who associated with you. So you need to change your mindset, right? You can't be an employee. If you have to be an entrepreneur, you have to be an entrepreneur, and which may lead into many ups and downs in life. And down is one which actually defines or differentiate between good entrepreneur and an entrepreneur, right? So I come across many, right? I recently came across, I'll not name, said I left my $500,000 well-paid job, and this is the business I have to raise money and then need to manage my lifestyle. I said nobody is going to invest or fund you to maintain your lifestyle. People are funding you because they believe you have an idea which actually could change the course of things, right? So people have to think differently. They have to build which need money and not to manage and maintain their lifestyle, right?
So as the president of Mumbai Indians, you have invested or helped invest in more than 100 ventures.
It's I think slightly less than that, but it's over 100 crore plus.
So Anil, that's by all accounts, it's a fantastic track record. So congratulations for that.
Thank you.
But the ingredients of success that you're talking about, managing cash flow, managing your conflict, ensuring that you are not so much emotionally invested in your idea that you can't see the reality. These seem to be very basic things. Cash flow, for example. Okay, cash flow is something that people see every day. How much money is coming in, how much going out. Why do you think entrepreneurs, who by all accounts are smart people, that is why you funded them in the first place, they miss such basic things?
So Shantanu, see, when entrepreneurs is bootstrapped, he know what it is, right? So he is very cautious. But when they raise funding, which is in tune of 3 to 10 crore, they do see sudden liquidity, right? So if somebody is investing in a company, he is investing for 18 to 24 months. So today you didn't had money to pay your bills, and all of a sudden you have a liquidity which is actually there for 24 months. You actually get relaxed, right? So one business where we have invested, very interesting case, right? The business plan has been made with a view that they are getting X amount of funding, where the funding is Y, which is less than X, right? And they still spending basis X, right? So here the burn was almost equivalent of 3 crore a month. Sorry, expense 3 crore a month, and revenue is in tune of 2 crore a month. You actually have a deficit of a crore every
crore gap
while you have raised money for 18 months. You are not feeling that pinch, but the moment you cross this 12 month, you would see that you have burned more than what you had. So if you don't take course correction, I think you would reach a stage where you will not have money to pay. And when we don't have money to pay, you would start seeing people leaving you, and there where you see good business going down the tube.
So
right?
basically, valuable businesses fall off.
So
and they simply die.
Right. So imagine 2 crore kind of billing a month. They are actually in serious business. right? They have clienteles, right? Where big names, big brands with them. So I think it becomes very important people to understand the importance of cash flow. Like in many cases, I have seen business, going down the tube only because they don't have money to pay salary. And if people leave, in fact, managing people is also an extremely, a difficult thing, a difficult art, right? I know an entrepreneur when I'm personally invested, not through fund. He ran his business for 6 months without paying salary, without paying rent, without paying electricity. But I think he showed a great leadership quality to keep his team intact, and they said, we are not leaving you, right? So these are very few examples, exceptions, but in larger scheme of things, you would always come across where people have their obligations, right? If I don't get money, I can leave at least for a couple of years, but it's not true for everyone, right? The aspiration is are different for, and today India actually offers ample opportunity for good people. So it's very important to keep eye on cash flow. If you can actually manage your cash flow, I think funded, not funded, nothing can go wrong with your business.
That's a great tip, I think, to every potential entrepreneur out there. But very interesting point you said, that when people get funded, then they get relaxed. So as long as it is their own money, they're very careful where to spend it. When it is somebody else's money coming in, then you spend it with a different kind of mindset. And somewhere do you see that today the event of getting funded is itself seen as an achievement? That I got funded, so my job is done. But the job is just started at that point in time, isn't it?
Correct. No, so I think funding actually is a kind of celebration for an entrepreneur, because somebody have believed in your idea, and that do give them a feeling of relaxation, and they do get carried away. I've seen businesses going or rather failing because the entrepreneur was more keen on changing his lifestyle. The moment he got funded, the size of car changed. The moment he got funded, the size of house change. This kind of business are bound to fail, right?
So Anil, and now being a mainstream investor with your own fund, are you doing anything to promote entrepreneurship or even funding entrepreneurs who are coming in from small towns and cities? I'm going back to your past experience. Would you dare to fund somebody from a small town like Jaipur or Panipat or Raipur who come with a good business idea? May not come with very advanced degrees or a fancy background.
So we have funded companies in tier 2, tier 3 cities, and we do have a mix of entrepreneurs, IIT, IIM, McKinsey and all, top 4, and also fairly large part of entrepreneurs who are non-IITians, maybe regional colleges, maybe vernacular background, and still doing well, right? I think India is a unique country. If you are able to identify, right people with right kind of tenacity, I think the nature of city will not stop you from investment. We are actually seeing all our investments from tier 2, tier city doing good, right? One of the company, of course, now moved to Bangalore, but actually came from Kerala, and it's the fastest growing in our portfolio.
So that's a great observation. I think if data is telling you that entrepreneurs coming from smaller towns and cities actually doing better than their big city counterpart, that should give a lot of hope to the people who have big ideas and dreams in smaller cities, that they can come to you and you will at least give them a patient hearing.
No, it needs a lot of hard work, no doubt. Metros is a fast lane. Your journey would be shorter. Your engagement would be shorter. But when you invest in tier 2, tier 3 city, I think you have to spend time. You have to work with people. Trust me, if you are willing to do that, sky is the limit. I'm pretty sure all of our portfolio company from tier 2, tier city would do equally good compared to our investments in metro.
So Anil, coming to a little bit about the funding of the entrepreneurship journey in India. so far I've seen that we talk a lot about India startup story and so on, which is mostly funded by foreign capital.
Yeah.
The domestic capital is still not brave enough to invest in Indian entrepreneurship. I find that a bit of an anachronism. We Indians funded lakhs and lakhs of crores in real estate and other asset classes which are actually depreciating. And here is an asset class which is growing by leaps and bounds, but still we find domestic capital not flowing here. What are the barriers to that?
So it's very interesting question, Shantanu. In fact, I come across this many a time when I tell people that investors in our fund would be making this kind of return. In fact, our fund potentially would return entire capital somewhere mid of next year, which is first thing of its kind in this industry, right? So when I share this kind of success, they ask like how do we invest, right? So I think earlier people also didn't had opportunity to invest in this kind of fund because the industry itself is in an infancy, right? So if let's say a few years back, if you wanted to invest in fund, there were not many fund. But good part is that now we have a handful of homegrown funds where people can invest. And also I think this asset class is not largely known among investor group. Of course, metro people risk taking appetite is different, but when it comes to money is there beyond metro. In my view, I think there could be at least 100 funds of our size only from the money coming outside metro. However, their investors don't know about this asset class, which is actually changing, because when they see that a boy next door is raising small money and building big business, I think they have started believing in this. And this is actually changing people's perception about startup. One people, I still remember very interesting, and I'll share, during our first fundraise, most of the people ask us what is Flipkart, right? What is Flipkart? Everybody was buying goods from Flipkart, but they said it's all bogus. But when Walmart bought them for upward of $20 billion, then people actually started appreciating, yes, there is a Flipkart, there is an Ola, there is an Oyo, right? And this actually has made people accept and understand that yes, they can also make money. And with people like us now there in India, I think they have opportunity to invest. So things are changing slow. I know it's slow, but it's picking up slowly. I know you even you have gone through your share of success and I think toughness. Would be interesting to know a bit of your learnings, if you see any resonance what I have shared. I know you have also built successful business.
So Anil, I think this conversation was very meaningful for me as well, because as an entrepreneur who's built several businesses, okay, and seen some of them succeeding widely, some of them imploding, some of them shutting down, I can totally empathize with what you're saying. And the things that you talk about, focus on the cash flow, ability to take decisive decisions, manage interpersonal conflicts, these seem like very simple mantras, but these are the very things that people forget. I think somewhere India fundamentally is an entrepreneurial country. Very true. Because if you look at our GDP, 70% coming from small and medium enterprises. And what is small and medium enterprises? End of the day, this is an entrepreneurial story. So I think we as a country are born entrepreneurs, but we have to learn the structured, I would say, the Western model of how to take a startup from starting to exit. One of the things that I have understood or realized in my journey, that anybody can start a business. You don't need very high amount of skill to do that, but very few people can exit the business. And the other thing that I see all the time with entrepreneurs is that they are so much focused on what is the valuation I am going to get, as if that is the badge of honor. But somewhere I think big role of the investor community of mentorship is to explain to them that entrepreneurship is a journey, and that journey gets started when you first accept funding. I think you were describing it as an Indian marriage, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually an arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage.
Arranged marriage.
As most marriages in India are, right?
So you start loving, post your marriage, and it's a good 5, 6, 7 year journey where you see each other quite often. You go through, because entrepreneur success is our success. If entrepreneur fails, we fail, right? So I call it actually an Indian arranged marriage, where you walk the ups and down and have one common goal to succeed.
Also, I think, Anil, that somewhere, the entrepreneurs, the inability to recognize that this model is failing.
Yes.
Okay. Because somewhere failure is still a dirty word in the country.
Very true.
Okay. And as a country, we have to get out of that mindset. It's okay to fail. It's okay to say that I was not right. Okay. It's okay to listen to your investor. Okay. It is not important that it should be your way or the highway all the time. And I think those there is a new generation of entrepreneurs now who don't think they are a gift from God, but who feel that they are part of an ecosystem, and the investor is part of that ecosystem. Your employees and your team members are equally part of that ecosystem. Sharing of rewards, for example, with the entire company is only now in past few years we are seeing that. Otherwise, we see that entrepreneurs want to keep all the spoils of success. So in some sense, I think the startup ecosystem in India, the rise of entrepreneurship in India is still at a very early stage. And to that extent, that means there is massive opportunity going forward. Why 100 funds of your size? I would say 10,000 funds of your size. A country like India can consume that much of capital, and it needs a little bit of swing, maybe 4 or 5% swing from other asset classes. If flow into entrepreneurship, we will have so much of domestic capital that the capital will be chasing the entrepreneurs rather than the other way around. The journey of Anil Joshi, the founder and managing partner of Unicorn Ventures, is actually an inspiring story of entrepreneurship itself. At every stage of his life, in some sense, he has disrupted his own life and shown those entrepreneurial qualities that are required to become successful. For example, when he decided to quit his well-paying job and became EA to the chairman of a company, very few people would actually do that. Or join at the peak of his career to join an angel investor network, which is a not-for-profit. Somewhere we can see that the seeds of becoming an entrepreneur and launching his own fund were sowed in his mind at a very early stage, perhaps in his stint in Panipat, where he saw some amazing stories of people who had nothing. They became well-off people through a very tenacious journey of being very focused, being very committed and dedicated to what they are doing. And in some sense, Anil brings a very fresh thinking to the world of entrepreneurship, because he believes in mentorship, believes in a partnership. And the fact that he describes the investor-investee relationship as an arranged marriage is very interesting, because in an arranged marriage you stick with each other no matter what happens in life. So Anil, thank you again for giving us an Indian perspective on investing in entrepreneurship.